Okay, I'm going to play a little bit of Kamala Harris's first speech since President Biden has stepped down.
And it is my intention to go out and earn this nomination and to win.
From what I hear, Barack Obama has not endorsed her, and a couple of other key Democrats who you would think would have endorsed her by now. But I think the word on the street is that they want to go ahead and go with an open convention. That might be the wise thing to do because right now, just rushing to make her the nominee, it makes the Democrats look a little bit desperate to fill in a leader. I don't think she's the strongest candidate, and I think most people don't. But at the same time, it's kind of like, do you guys wait to the convention and then choose somebody? It might be kind of late. It's not a lot of time.
So in the days and weeks ahead, I, together with you, will do everything in my power to unite our Democratic Party, to unite our nation, and to win this election. You know, as many of you know, before I was elected as Vice President, before I was elected as United States Senator, I was the elected Attorney General, as I've mentioned, of California, and before that I was a courtroom prosecutor. In those roles, I took on perpetrators of all kinds.
This whole idea of trying to go after Trump personally, I think that'll work with the far left and people who are already going to vote for her. But those people who are really looking at the main issues right now, the economy, immigration, just to name a few, or just to name two, she's going to really have to deal with those things. And those things have gotten worse under her administration.
And in this campaign, I will proudly put my record against his. As a young prosecutor, when I was in the Alameda County District Attorney's Office in California, I specialized in cases involving sexual abuse. Donald Trump was found liable by a jury for committing sexual abuse. As Attorney General of California, I took on one of our country's largest for-profit colleges and put it out of business. Donald Trump ran a for-profit college, Trump University, that was forced to pay $25 million to the students it scammed.
Where the country is right now, those things that she's talking about are not going to work. The Democrats have so much work to do in the next couple of months. I don't want to knock Kamala Harris. I really don't, but she's not a strong candidate. And the stuff that she really needs to start tackling right now, it's going to be something else. I mean, these things are already in the news about Donald Trump. One of the benefits Donald Trump has is that all of his dirt is already on the table. They haven't even begun to start digging into Kamala's dirt. And there's some stuff that's obviously going to come up, or even things that are perceived as dirt are going to come up. It's inevitable. It's the way the game is.
This campaign is not just about us versus Donald Trump. There is more to this campaign than that.
There better be.
Our campaign has always been about two different versions of what we see. Donald Trump wants to take our country backward to a time before many of our fellow Americans had full freedoms and rights. But we believe in a brighter future that makes room for all Americans. We believe in a future where every person has the opportunity not just to get by, but to get ahead. We believe in a future where no child has to grow up in poverty, where every person can buy a home, start a family, and build wealth, and where every person has access to paid family leave and affordable child care.
Okay, all that sounds good, but this is just the typical conversations that Democrats hit you with every 4 years. Inflation is crazy, and that's something that has happened in the last 4 years. Now, will I blame all of Biden's administration for inflation? No. I think inflation was inevitable, namely in my opinion, because there was a lot of money given during COVID, and a lot of money needed to be given during COVID, but there was a lot of abuse in the system. There was a lot of money, dollars flying out there. The government printed mad money. And look, that's going to cause inflation. What we see happening, namely 23 and 24, what we see as far as inflation, that's all a reaction from what was happening in 2020 and 21.
Together, we fight to build a nation where every person has affordable health care.
Who do you think is getting health care and certain benefits that need to be given to them because they have nothing when they come into the country are migrants? They have literally nothing. They are being set up with housing, jobs, and health care. We can't even afford to give the migrants health care. And quite honestly, all of that's going to make it harder and harder for, it was already hard for Americans to get affordable health care anyway. And the immigration problem has definitely not helped, amongst other things. So her trying to champion that, it's just, it's the same old stuff. That's not going to win. Not going to win the election, man.
All of this is to say, building up the middle class will be a defining goal of my presidency.
So building up the middle class is definitely a great talking point. Everybody's used that in the last, I don't know, at least the last 16 years. I mean, Barack Obama focused on that as well. But you got to understand, Barack Obama was a very strong candidate. He came at the right timing is everything when it comes to candidates. You know, he was a polarizing figure at the time. He was just an amazing candidate. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. There's many things I can think of to describe it, but she's not an amazing candidate, and she's also coming in a very critical time.
Because we here know when our middle class is strong, America is strong. And we know that's not the future Donald Trump is fighting for. He and his extreme Project 2025 will weaken the middle class and bring us backward. Please do note that. Back to the failed trickle-down policies that gave huge tax breaks to billionaires and big corporations and made working families pay the cost.
My whole point is that if she's going to talk about building up the middle class, she's got to specifically talk about what things the Democrats are going to do to build up the middle class, because right now the middle class has been destroyed by a lot of different things, and it's part of industry, where things are going, the lack of manufacturing in the U.S. that's been happening for a long time now, at least the better part of 25 to 30 years. The manufacturing has been declining, and you know, these things are things that she's going to really have to explain in more detail, because when they start getting into debates, Donald Trump is going to be hitting her on these things, and she can't be getting up there talking like she's talking to her base. This was the problem Hillary Clinton had, and Hillary Clinton lost because she was saying the same talking points.
Our fight for the future is also a fight for freedom. Generations of Americans before us have led the fight for freedom, from our founders to our framers, to the abolitionists and the suffragettes, to the freedom riders and farm workers. And now I say, team, the baton is in our hands. We who believe in the sacred freedom to vote. We who are committed to fight to pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act and the Freedom to Vote Act. We who believe in the freedom to live safe from gun violence. And that's why we will work to pass universal background checks, red flag laws, and an assault weapons ban.
Gun control, that's usually an issue, right? And then the general blanket generic term, freedom. We fought for freedom. Now, that's pandering, in my opinion, of course, obviously, to Black American people. We fought for freedom. Of course, we fought for freedom. But this is not an election about our freedom. That talking point makes me laugh, because we're not fighting for our freedom. You know, we have freedom in this country, but as far as anything, if you're talking about anything institutional, as far as racism or anything holding us back in this country systematically, those things aren't going to be solved by a Republican or a Democrat. But again, the Democrats always tend to focus on what you would call either freedom or rights being taken away, because that's always code word for, in my opinion, it's always code. There's different codes for the umbrella of racism. I want to Kamala Harris. But the thing for me is that I don't really think she wanted to be president, to be honest with you. I don't think that was ever in her sight or in her scope. I think that, Biden stepping down isn't something that she could foresee. I don't think so. Maybe she did, but I don't think being president is something that she wanted. I think it's just where she found herself, and that doesn't make her wrong. I don't think she's ready. When you watch this clip, it really looks like it just looks like something from 8, 16 years ago. I don't think it's going to really stand up against what's going on now and how much support Donald Trump has. And I think the Democrats have to take a step back and really understand why Donald Trump has the support that he does. And also, again, I don't want her to make the same mistake that Hillary Clinton made. You know, you don't want to be disconnected from the voters who are in the middle. That's the thing. You could talk to the base, but the problem is that there's a lot of voters that are in the middle who really don't know about her. She's going to have to really work on talking directly to the American people, because the playbook right now, it just sounds like the typical Democratic playbook, to be frank with you. And they just need to have Michelle Obama, to be honest with you. But that's my spiel on it. You guys let me know what you think.